Welcome to this episode of the Crypto Fatcat and the Crypto Skeptic. Today, we are going to be talking about the Ethereum Merge. Jonathan, why don't you tell us what that is and why is this such a big deal in the crypto world?
Thanks for asking, Crypto Skeptic. All right. So the Ethereum Merge. So Ethereum, okay, so you know how everyone's been complaining, the world has been complaining about Bitcoin using up energy, and it does use a fair amount of energy. Depending on what studies you read, it's anywhere from 0.5% to 0.06% of the world energy supply. So that's either way, that's a fair amount. Obviously, 0.5% is a lot. This is not the driving force, by the way, behind what I'm saying, but this is one of the things I think is going to make it exciting for the world at large. So Ethereum has also been using the same system, which is called proof of work, which uses computing power to sort of verify and validate the transactions and make sure that everything is on the up and up on the network. So that way you can't have double spends or counterfeiting or anything like that. So when it makes the transactions final and sort of make sure the ledgers, the public ledgers, which is what a blockchain really is, are all correct, basically. And everyone agrees that it's the same. That's the system that which they do is called proof of work. So in about a week and a half from now, we're recording on September 5th, 2022, Ethereum is going to switch over to what's called proof of stake, which is a different method of validating these transactions. And one of the things it's going to do is use 99.95% less energy to do it because it doesn't use computing power. It uses something else. It uses wealth, actually, to do it. It uses people putting up Ethereum and sort of a lottery to determine who gets to sort of get the rewards for validating the transactions every 10 minutes or whatever. Actually, it's not every 10 minutes with Ethereum, but every few minutes for Ethereum. So that's sort of what's going on behind the scenes. But here's what it means for people like you and everyone, myself too, of course, but like people who would care about sort of the investing side of it and why this is really important. So because we're going to switch over from proof of work to proof of stake, with proof of work, with all the computing power, what you have are what's called miners, right? So these are people who buy up computers and pay power costs, electricity costs, very big ones, to mine Ethereum. And then they get the rewards of the Ethereum. About 13,000 Ethereum right now are created every single day. So they get these 13,000 Ethereum, and mostly they sell them into the market to pay their expenses. And they make a profit. They make a reasonable profit. But that's like a way of living. That's like a living people can make, right? But they mostly have to sell the Ethereum that they get. So 13,000 new Ethereum are created every day, and most of that gets sold right back into the market. So for the price of Ethereum right now to remain at can you say that word for me? I can't get there. Equilibrium. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't get there. Anyway, for the price of Ethereum to remain at equilibrium, $20 million of new money has to come in every single day to support Ethereum's current price. So that's just the way it's been for a long time. And that's based on the prices right now for Ethereum. It's about 20 million. Okay. So when the merge happens, so the merge is when we switch over from proof of work to proof of stake. And the merge means they're merging two different chains, the beacon chain, which is this proof of stake chain, and then this other chain, which does all the smart contracts. They're going to merge them together, and now we'll be doing proof of stake. So one thing that happens is there's no more Ethereum miners. So all that Ethereum that used to go to people who needed to sell it immediately to pay their expenses every day, now is going to go to people who are just Ethereum investors and holders, and it costs them nothing to secure the network and secure these transactions. So that's part one of this. So there's going to take a lot of sell pressure off. There still will be rewards that people will get, but they won't need to be sold right away. So that should change the amount of available supply of Ethereum pretty much immediately and perpetually. That's part one. Much more interesting than that, though, is I was saying there was 13,000 new Ethereum that are created every day. So that number is going to drop down to 1,300 new Ethereum once the merge happens. And it will never go up after that. It's only going to go down from there.
1,300 new Ethereum a day. And what is it now?
13,000. So instead of there being $20 million of new Ethereum a day, there'll be $2 million of new Ethereum every day. And it will be given to people who don't need to sell it right away.
Okay.
And here's the extra piece on top of that. Right now, Ethereum, you can stake your Ethereum, which is part of securing the network. You can do that and get about 3.9% on your Ethereum, which is pretty good even now. but the numbers are going to go up. They've run lots of simulations on this. And instead, you're going to be able to get, once the merge happens, it's going to go up significantly because they don't have to pay the miners anymore. They're only going to be paying the stakers. And so it should go up to somewhere between 7 and 9%. It's a little unclear what that number is going to be. Depends on the amount of transactions that day and all that. But I think 7% is a really reasonable number to look for. And some people are guessing even much higher than that. I don't believe it will be like 12%. I think 7% is great, but it's going to be another incentive for people when they get Ethereum just to like sock it away and hold it, because they're going to be paid. There's more incentive. They're going to be paid better to just lock it up basically for a while, right? So when you put all that together, what that means is there's going to be a massive Ethereum supply crisis, most likely coming very, very soon, because there's $20 million of new money coming in every day right now to buy Ethereum. Soon, there's going to be more reasons to buy it because you get a higher interest rate on it than you do now. You get less than 4%, so you're going to get like 7%. And there's going to be less new supply of it. And the people who get the new supply are going to be less inclined to sell it. All that's going to happen at the same time. And when I say the same time, I mean like in 10 days. And that's how it's going to be from now on with Ethereum. And like I was saying at the beginning, the energy consumption is going to go from a reasonable amount to essentially zero, effectively zero, in the grand scheme of things. And so people who care, investors who care about ESG, who at least claim to care about it, whether they're virtue signaling or actually feel that way, either way, here's an opportunity. If you want to be involved in crypto and invest in crypto, you can do it with a very safe, important crypto and not be in any way worried about the energy piece, because Ethereum won't be using effectively any energy at all.
Okay.
So that's what the merge is.
Sounds amazing for Ethereum. What's the potential downside?
The biggest downside of the merge is that it's an incredibly complex thing to take these two chains, stop doing the proof of work to validate the transactions that they've been doing and has worked for years, switch over to this new thing. Now, they've been doing all these tests on it, as you can imagine, because this is Ethereum is worth like $140 billion, I think right now, the market cap, something like that. So they're being very careful with these tests, but still, it's a very complex thing. There's a lot of layers to it. It could fail. If it were to fail, I don't think that would be the end of Ethereum or anything like that. They can actually rewind the chain to a particular point before the merge happened and kick it back up again. But that would be a major blow to sort of the technology and sort of, as it's seen as by far the leading smart contract platform and the leading crypto network that commerce would be done on for the world. I think if they failed at this, it would give all of its competitors, of which there are many, a fabulous chance to catch up. And it might really be sort of a death blow, maybe possibly even a mortal blow for Ethereum being sort of the way I envision it anyway, which is the base layer of commerce on the internet and the world in 10 years or something like that.
So people who are holding a lot of Ethereum must be kind of nervous right now.
I guess so. I mean, in some ways, this stuff has all been talked about for so long. Like we've been talking about as an Ethereum holder, we've been talking about switching over to proof of stake for 2.5 years. So I'm excited to finally get there. Like it feels like, man, it's been so long. We thought it was going to be, a year ago, even a year and a half ago, we were talking about maybe it was coming soon. So it's been delayed and delayed and delayed as they've been trying to make sure they don't screw up the whole thing, as they really want to get it right, which is great. I encourage them to delay it, of course, in those situations, but I'm just glad it's finally happening. And, so I'm not nervous at all, actually. I'm excited. Now, I'm someone else who also invests in many of the Ethereum competitors. So were Ethereum to fall to the wayside, I would probably be fine anyway. I probably would likely own a number of the other ones that would stand to potentially take its place. But I don't really think that's going to be a problem. I think they're being very careful. And I don't anticipate there's going to be a huge error, but that doesn't mean there won't be. Like right. Space shuttles blow up, right? Even though they have the smartest people in the world working on it.
Okay. So the market cap of Ethereum right now is 194 billion.
Oh, more than I thought.
The daily trading volume is about, from what I could see, I'm not sure how accurate this is, but from what I could see is 11 billion per day. Okay. So if we talk about, $20 million worth of Ethereum daily that's going into the market, a lot of which is being sold, doesn't seem like that's actually going to have that big of an impact if there's already 11 billion Ethereum changing hands day to day.
Well, it's not 11. It's $11 billion of Ethereum. It's not 11 billion Ethereum.
Right,
to be clear,
$11 billion.
Yeah, but it's dollars. Yeah. It's dollars in both cases.
Yeah,
I think that's probably true if you look at it on a day-to-day basis. But if you add that up over time, it doesn't take that long before you're talking about an extreme impact on this, right? Like, think about what that does over the course of a year. If you add $20 million, it's not 20, it's two. So it's really an $18 million difference per day is what we're talking about worth of Ethereum. So in 10 days, that's $180 million. In 100 days, that's $1.8 billion. In a year, that's something like $6.3 billion, right? The entire market cap of Ethereum is, what'd you say, 190 billion. So, that's 3% of the entire market cap just not existing anymore. Think about what would happen if you took 3% of all of the shares of Apple out. The price wouldn't go up by 3%. It would go up by much more than that. Because this is also part of the available liquid supply is what we're talking about. This is Ethereum that gets put into the liquid supply and gets sold. So you're right. There's a lot that gets sold. And on a day-to-day basis, it probably won't happen immediately, except there might be some excitement and froth around, oh my God, the merge happened and look what it's going to mean and all that. And so people would be speculatively buying. But just like when Bitcoin halves, and so the amount of new Bitcoin literally falls in half, which happens every 4 years and is about 2 years away now. It doesn't affect the price right away, except for the people who are excited about it. But 6 to 8 months later, Bitcoin usually hits a new all-time high. So this is a more extreme thing than that. The Bitcoin supply, new Bitcoin supply halves. We're talking about this dropping 90% and more reasons to stake it so that way it would be locked up. And the people who get the new supply are less inclined to sell it right away. I think you put that all together, that's very powerful. And I expect a year from the halving, which is even a year from now, so September 5th, 2023. I mean, there's macro forces that are always a little hard to predict how this is all going to play out, admittedly. But in a vacuum, let me say this, I would expect Ethereum would be up significantly from its current price just because of the supply issues. As long as the demand for Ethereum stays even sort of close to what it's been, there's $6 billion less over the next year, which is available. That should really goose the price significantly. A lot of people hold Ethereum for the long haul, myself included, are not interested in selling at all. So a lot of that supply is not available. Of course, clearly $11 billion of it is moving every day. So there's a fair amount that is. But if we're going to eat up, 6 billion of it over the course of a year, that means now there's only, there's a lot less available in that liquid supply.
So I know you're not a prognosticator, but what are the prognosticators projecting as far as the possible impact of price over the next 6 months to a year from this merge?
Everyone's being really careful because one, we're in a massive bear market in crypto, and two, the macro forces clearly are impacting crypto more even than they're impacting other assets, because crypto is still ultimately an investment for most people, and a speculative one at that. They're not fully formed yet, so they're not operating sort of independent of what some of these macro trends are, which we hope in the future that will be much more the case. It clearly isn't the case right now. So no one's really making any big predictions about what Ethereum is going to be in the next year. People make lots of predictions about what it's going to be in 5 to 10 years. And the more outlooks anyway, like the Winklevoss twins, for example, have used a number $70,000 per Ethereum, for example, which is very high, but I don't think completely impossible. This is down the road. This is, like I said, 2030 type numbers. $20,000 is a number that gets batted around a lot these days, though, for a slightly longer term impact, like 5 years from now or something.
Okay, which is 10x to what it is currently, right?
Yeah, even a little more. It's about 1,600 right now. So
okay, so that's kind of a best case scenario for 5 years in the future from people who are in the market, what they're thinking.